If you own a property right here in Calgary, that's an Airbnb, or you're planning to purchase a home and use Airbnb as a supplemental income to help your mortgage, or finally, if you're an investor that's looking to invest in the Calgary real estate market with Airbnb as your core strategy, then this is a video you definitely want to watch till the end. Because as of April 1st, a lot of guidelines are changing. I attended a meeting with the City of Calgary last week to collect all the details for you guys, and I've put it together in this video. And some of these are very fundamental changes that is going to completely change what defines a short-term rental going forward in 2025. Before we get started, hey guys, it's Iyer, your Calgary Realtor, and this is a channel that focuses on data revolving around the demographics, economy, and the Calgary real estate market so that you can make an informed decision going forward, whether you're a buyer, seller, or investor in the Calgary real estate market. So if this is content that would be of interest to you and you find this channel valuable, make sure you subscribe, and I would really appreciate that, as I can then reach more people like you and help more buyers, sellers, and investors. Now to get right into it and see what are the changes that we're going to expect for the Calgary short-term rental market going forward. So the purpose of the change for these new STR bylaw amendments are to protect housing affordability for long-term residents. So Calgary really wants to monitor what's the balance between short-term and long-term rentals, and they're putting new guidelines in place for the permissibility of short-term rentals. Improve community safety and neighborhood experience, increase enforceability of short-term rentals, and finally, ensure economic fairness and compliance for short-term rental operators. As far as what's going to comprise the definition of a short-term rental going forward, is the rental duration is any rental that is up to 180 consecutive days now. And to clarify what this means, it's anything between 0 and 180 days. So previously this was 30 days. So a lot of people would rent, for example, 32 days, and that wouldn't count as a short-term rental. Anything less than 30 days was a short-term rental. But now if you rent anything between 180 days, that is a short-term rental. As far as compensation goes, so anything that is essentially offered for a compensation, and this was also there previously. Listing platforms, so typically anything actually listed on a short-term rental platform such as Airbnb, Vrbo, or something similar. So for example, if you end up renting to a friend or a family member, even though there's an exchange of compensation, you do not need to get a short-term rental license because you haven't advertised that property as a short-term rental. And as far as property types, this applies to both homes and rooms within homes. So all of those would come under these property types. Now the license type has changed, and we will go over that right here. So if you see the key bylaw amendments that have been actually made, now the license categories used to be a tier system, and they have done away with that and simplified it down to based on primary residence license and non-primary residence based license. So as far as primary residence goes, these are where the operator lives most of the year. So now if you are living upstairs and then you have an illegal basement suite that you're planning to do an Airbnb with, then that would be your primary residence still. But for example, non-primary residents are investment or rental properties that are not lived in by the operator. As far as licensing fees go, there are changes in, or I would rather say increases to the license fees. So as far as primary residents go and non-primary residents, that's how they're separating out the fees right now. So for primary residents, it's significantly lower. So it's $172 for a new license. And then when you're renewing, it's just $131. And you need to get a fire inspection done, of course. So the fire inspection fee is going to be standard across both. So $114, as you can see here. For non-primary residences, that's where it's going to get really expensive. Is $510 for your first time license and $260 for the renewal, and then the same $114 for your fire safety. So fee increases are due to the cost recovery needs and the high labor involved for short-term rental regulation. As far as licensing platform go, short-term rental platforms are now also going to be required to pay a $3,000 business license fee. Of course, this does not affect you directly as a short-term rental owner, but this is one of the bylaw amendments that have also been made to regulate the short-term rental licensing right here in Calgary. The other thing is the new restrictions and compliance changes. So right on the top, we have the moratorium trigger, and this is the most important change also that you need to be aware of, is no new non-primary residence licenses will be issued if Calgary's vacancy rate drops below 2.5. Now we sit at around 4.5 for Calgary overall, so this does not come into effect, but this is to protect the long-term rental market. So as far as non-primary residence licenses go, the moment this drops below 2.5, no new licenses will be issued. So people who already have existing non-primary residence licenses will be able to renew and continue, but no new licenses will be issued. Vacancy rate is tracked via the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation report, and this is only published once a year. So now this 4.5% that we are sitting at is going to apply for the rest of 2025, and then we will review this again when it comes to 2026 and see if we can still continue to get non-primary residence licenses for short-term rentals. Then the other point you need to about is affordable housing protection. So now short-term rentals are prohibited in properties designated as affordable housing by the City of Calgary. So areas and buildings that are designated as affordable housing will not be allowed for short-term rentals. And then finally, and this is where a lot of confusion has come in, I have had people reach out and ask me more questions. Even during the call with the City of Calgary, we did have confusion and we clarified this. So it says condo board consent has been removed. And what does that mean? It just means that if you do not need to provide essentially the consent by your condominium board to the City of Calgary, but the condominium board bylaws still apply. That now lies between you and your condominium. So this does not mean that now you can start an Airbnb essentially in any condominium. If your condominium fundamentally does not allow it, then your condominium is allowed to still take action against you if you decide to start an Airbnb, and that would include fines or whatever else they decide to put in their bylaws to take action against short-term rentals. So this is just to make it easier between the process between the city and you as an applicant for a business owner. But as far as following the local bylaws for your condominium, that is your responsibility now. And finally, fire safety and insurance requirements. This is extremely important. So you have to pass a mandatory fire inspection. And if you need clarification on what all constitutes within this fire inspection, what are the requirements that you need to have depending on whether you're looking to rent a room in your basement or a room anywhere else in your house, or it's a backyard suite, different types of guidelines and regulations will apply. What I am going to do is put a whole bunch of links in the description of this video so that you can reference them and have all the information that you need so you feel empowered to then have that short-term rental without the uncertainty of what's going to happen when you actually apply for the license. And of course, if you're looking to purchase a property right here in Calgary with a short-term rental perspective in mind, definitely reach out. It's good to have an expert in the field on your side so that I can clarify as we look at properties and we can figure out whether you actually match and you're going to be okay getting your short-term rental license after you purchase your property. The safety plan right here, so you have to submit that safety plan with layouts of exits, detectors, extinguishers. There's different ways to go about making this. A lot of people hand draw it. There are websites that help you construct it. There are good apps that do a 3D scan and then print out a layout. So I have a lot of tools at my disposal that I can help you out with when it comes to doing this. As far as insurance goes, you must hold a $2 million liability insurance. Proof no longer needs to be uploaded to the City of Calgary. Fire inspection now operates on a risk-based frequency model, more frequent for higher risk units. So that is all the changes. It's primarily 6 bullet points of changes, 3 across the 2 slides that I went through. And as far as clarifications, so the 180-day rule. So if a unit is rented for 180 consecutive days or fewer, it's still considered a short-term rental and must be licensed. So it does not mean that it's only for 180 days or more. It's 180 days or less. So anything that comes within that counts as a short-term rental. Listing platform does matter. So if it's listed on a short-term platform, that's what qualifies as advertising it as a short-term rental. And as far as basement suites, a legal basement suite under the same roof can count as part of primary residence. So even though it's 2 separate suites, but if it's part of the same home, it still counts as primary residence and not a separate home. So taking a break between stays does not reset the 180 days. Private rentals to friends, family, or on platforms such as Rent Faster may not require a license, and this is something you definitely should still clarify with the city. A carriage suite or garage suite is counted as non-primary. This is very interesting when I guess it makes sense, but a lot of people would miss that detail out because they allow your legal basement suite to count as primary residence, but then your carriage and backyard suites are not. One license per address, so irrespective of how many rooms, or if you're doing basement and you're doing another additional room in your house, you still only need one license per address. And finally, here is all the contacts that you will need. The City of Calgary has a live chat on their website. They're very fast and quick to reply. That's the website you can visit to get in touch with them. They also have a helpline number that you can call. And finally, the fire department number that you can call to arrange for your inspections. Hope you guys found this video extremely useful. I try to make it as concise and to the point as possible, but still clarify the gray zones that people might be confused about, or how things adapt from their current short-term rentals to where the new rules are. If you definitely have any more questions, feel free to reach out. My contact's in the description. It's super easy to book a call. I would love to clarify and help you guys through this process. And if you're looking to find a good short-term rental opportunity, whether it's mortgage helper or a full-time short-term rental from an investment perspective, I would definitely love to help you guys. There's a lot of properties I'm already aware of that provide good short-term rental opportunities turnkey from day one. I look forward to helping you guys, and if you found any value in this video, make sure to subscribe. A lot of you are still not subscribed, and it would be very, very helpful to me to be able to reach out to more people and help more people like you and provide these little snippets of important information that you need to operate within the Calgary real estate market. You can also leave comments in the comment section below. I will definitely get back to you as soon as I can with any questions that you have, or if you would like me to make another video about a very specific part of this topic. As always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video.